Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Amy, and my topic that I focused on was soil biology. First of all, what is soil biology? Soil biology is like the detailed facts and information about what's in the soil, and let's say like such as mycelium, just microorganisms, bacteria, and the bigger organisms like insects, spiders, termites, and all that. Why is it important? Well, soil biology is important because without the knowledge of soil, like we wouldn't be able to grow plants and have them thrive, and then it wouldn't benefit us at all. The connection to urban gardening. Soil biology connects to urban gardening because like you need soil obviously to grow a garden, and the knowledge of soil to have your plants thrive so it could have better nutrients and just more plants in general. 5 fun facts about soil biology is that soil is alive, however it could die from excessive amounts of tilling, synthetic chemicals, and like this fertilizer. Mistreatment of soil could also lead to carbon emissions. Soil is home to 2 or more thousands of living organisms per acre. There are more than 2,000 types of soil in the USA, and healthy soil takes hundreds of years to form in nature, but humans can create 1 inch of healthy soil in a season.
Buenas tardes, mi nombre es Anthony Sebastián Álvarez Cruz y me tocó presentar la agricultura regenerativa. Actualmente la agricultura regenerativa es la mayor solución para cuidar el medio ambiente. Consiste en rehabilitar el suelo y mantenerlo productivo la mayor parte del tiempo posible para evitar la deforestación y producir un cambio climático climático a corto plazo. Esto es importante ya que puede reponer el suelo en las tierras del cultivo, también ayuda a conservar el agua, también puede ser una solución para el cambio climático y producir problemas de efecto invernadero. Se relaciona en nuestra comunidad. En nuestra casa se puede regenerar nuestro jardín en el aspecto de eliminar o reconstruir un sitio donde había tierra contaminada y así poder que las plantas crezcan más rápidamente. Gracias.
Hi, my name is Cake, and my topic is biosequestration. So, what is it? Biological sequestration, or biosequestration, is the process of using plants and microorganisms to remove carbon dioxide from the atmosphere. The plants then use the carbon dioxide, store the carbon dioxide within biomass in soils. So why is it important? There are many potential advantages to biosequestration. One such advantage is in the name. It could sequester large volumes of carbon dioxide at a lower cost. Furthermore, biosequestration can protect the soil, water sources, habitats, and promote biodiversity. Biosequestration may also promote more sustainable agriculture and forestry practices. Additional facts of biosequestration: using methods to enhance carbon sequestration in soil can increase soil quality and has the potential to mitigate the effects of global warming. Forests draw out large amounts of carbon dioxide from the atmosphere via plants exchanging carbon sugars with mycelium, which stores the carbon in the soil. Tilling soil releases carbon and contributes to global warming. If we keep soil covered in plants and practice no-till agriculture, it protects the soil and prevents the release of the stored carbon. Huge amounts of carbon dioxide are stored in soil as dead organic matter. Erosion of forest soils increases the chance of that stored carbon releasing into the atmosphere. And lastly, if we do not reverse emission trends quickly, warming in this century is inevitable. And that's it.
So my name is Danny, and my topic is bioremediation. And if that's too long for you to say, you could just say Earth's way to combat pollution. And bioremediation is used to treat contaminated water, soils, and subsurface materials. And it alternates environmental conditions to stimulate the growth of microorganisms that degrade the target pollutants, and usually uses native organisms to do that. It's important because after eliminating contamination in the soils or waters, the same bacteria then can stimulate the growth of healthier microbes that consume those same impurities for energy. And it can help urban gardening because studies have shown that some urban gardens can have contaminated soil, and remediation could provide a way to clean up the soil so plants can be grown safely there. And some of the fun facts that I found interesting were proper conditions allow right microbes to grow and multiply and eat more contaminants. And professionals who clean crime scenes are taking part in bioremediation because the crime scenes can contain various biohazards such as blood and other bodily fluids. And it can have infectious diseases that can contaminate the soils and stuff. So these, they're working hard to get rid of that while cleaning.
Hi, I'm Elijah, and my topic is desertification. Desertification is the process of which fertile land becomes more like a desert, and this is usually from loss of water or deforestation. This occurs through poor farming habits, and it has a severe impact on the gases that that piece of land generates and the effect that it has on the ecosystem and its surroundings. Desertification is important to know because it has a huge impact on the environment and damages not only the soil but the life that depends on it as well. And we depend on it too because we eat the food from the land. It also, without lush plants covering the earth, an excess of carbon dioxide, methane, and other greenhouse gases find their way into our air and damage the ability to farm even further, so it's kind of like a continuous cycle. Some facts that I found interesting are that the United Nations predicts that in the next 10 years, over 50 million people will be displaced by the effects of desertification from loss of food or water. Desertification does not just affect dry lands. Really, it's just a change in where the water is, so fertile lands can experience a ton of flooding also. The rate of desertification today is 30 to 40% higher than it has been in the last 30 years. Almost a third of US land is impacted by desertification, and land and water management are used to deter the spread of desertification, and also farming habits can change because that's a huge impact on the land as well. This relates to us because the plants that we've planted outside need our soil to be rich, and just as the plants rely on the soil, the organisms in the earth rely on the plants. Therefore, without the plants, our soil could potentially desertify, which is a much smaller example of what's happening globally. Thank you.
All right, yeah, that does.
Hi, I'm Gabby, and I studied climate and hardiness zones. And climate and hardiness zones climate is just the state of the weather in that area and its average weather. Hardiness zones are the representative zones of the minimum temperatures in the area. Colorado's in zones 4 to 5. This is important because they both have to do with the weather surrounding plants, the hottest it can get and the coldest it can get, which affects the plants greatly. This connects to urban gardening because it connects to urban gardening because we need to find what plants best fit where we live, just in case if it gets too cold it kills off the plants, or if it gets too hot it kills off the plants. Some fun facts that I have found were Denver is one of the sunniest states because we average 245 sunny days a year. Colorado's in zones 4 to 5, meaning our minimum temperatures is -10 to -30 degrees. Denver experiences very cold winters and also very hot summers, going from single to triple digits in our degrees. Sometimes Zone 5 can take short dives into Zone 4, killing plants. Denver's hottest month is July, coldest month December, wettest month May, and its snowiest month is March. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Gianni, and I'm here to talk about covered soil. Covered soil. What is covered soil? Well, covered soil would be the act of covering the soil with plant life. Why would you do that? Well, there's many reasons. It can bank and maintain the water. Why do you need to bank and maintain the water? Can we just farm somewhere else? No. We must bank and maintain the water because it is very expensive to maintain this soil. I know you're a farmer, you know the prices. Why are we doing this still though? We need it for the environment. All this farming you're doing, it's great. You're feeding so many people. But we need to take care of the land so the people after us can eat too. Thinking ahead, the facts. I've been spitting all this talk, but what are the actual facts of the scenario? Why do we need to cover this soil? But you will find out as I said, right here are the facts. Soil, it's a natural purifier. It'll take out dust, chemicals, and other impurities from the surface of that water. It also banks the water, maintains it, helps it, keeps it rich, and the surroundings around the soil. You feel me? It provides a habitat for billions. We're walking around over here. We're all life forms out here. What about the worms, man? You just up their lives. But yeah, we got some facts, but the most important fact of it all. Listen. It sequesters the carbon. It is Earth's natural way of cooling itself. If we don't help Earth cool down, if we don't get on this, we're gonna be suffering from desertification. Big old word. And that's what we got here. But we're not done. How does this tie back? How does this come back to urban gardening? God, I'm so nervous. How are we gonna tie this back? Well, the soil is what we planted in. We need the soil. We came from the soil. That millions of years ago. We need the soil. So everybody, please come to your community garden. Get some compost. Break it up. Make sure you're doing the right thing. You don't want to put no meat in that compost. Don't pick up the soil for everybody now. And then we can all come together after that soil is rich, after that soil is pure, and we can reap the benefits. Thank you.
For the local pollinators are mostly animals and mostly insects that transfer pollen from one spot to another. This action helps flowers reproduce the many healthy foods and vegetables that we are blessed to enjoy every single day. Why are they so important? Local pollinators are important because they help reproduce many fruits and vegetables. This process helps the ecosystem of many other animals. Without local pollinators, the rate of seed reproduction will drop drastically. 5 fun facts about local pollination. Number 1, plants use sexual appeal so that they can get pollinated sooner. Number 2, Colorado has just under 1,000 different types of bees, most of which are solitary. Number 3, flies, beetles, bees, birds, and bats are considered pollinators. Number 4, flies start to pollinate before bees, but bees help with 80% of all pollination. 20% goes to the pollinators. 5. Climate change has decreased the amount of pollination around the world. How does how does it tie back to our urban garden? Well, if there are any local pollinators around our garden, right, they would be able to help collect nectar from the plants and reproduce. This one's about the sexual appeal. This one's about bats being considered as pollination, and yeah, a bird is considered a pollinator. All this work was designed and researched by the one and only Joshua Kale, age 16.
Hi, I'm Khadijah, and my topic is plant life cycle. The 4 stages of the plant life cycle include seed, sprout, tiny plant, and adult plants. The seed will begin to grow into a little sprout once it is inserted into the soil, along with water and sunlight. Why it's important? The plant life cycle is crucial to agriculture. The food we eat includes many steps. Farmers are experts in the plant life cycle, caring for their sprouting and develop so we can savor the fruit of vegetables it provides. Farmers are aware of each plant life cycle before they go and harvest it. 5 fun facts. Plants are really important for the planet and for all living things. All plants and animals go through life cycles. A life cycle is a chain of events an organism goes through. Plants have life cycles just like people. Plants absorb carbon dioxide and release oxygen from their leaves. Why it's important in Denver. The plant life cycle is important to urban gardening in Denver because everything we grow goes through a life cycle.
So my name is Colo, and my topic was the food forest. So a food forest is a group of perennial plants such as fruit and nut trees, medicinal shrubs, and flowers that mimic a natural forest and work together symbiotically to provide food for humans. These plants remain year after year, building increasingly diverse ecosystems and healthy soils that hold water and store carbon. Why is it important? They provide an opportunity to make the connection between nutritious food and health, which can then lead to a grasp of how human health is intricately connected to the environment. They can also utilize the companion planting to provide a natural mulch as well as heat and cold protection. They can also conserve water, build soil, and control diseases and pests. Some of the 5 facts are like the 7 layers of the food forest they consist of a canopy layer of a large fruit and nut tree, an understory layer of smaller trees such as dwarf fruit trees, shrub layers of various sizes like blueberries and currants, herbaceous layers of non-woody perennial like rhubarb, asparagus, and other culinary and medicinal herbs, soil surface layers of ground covers such as creeping thyme, soil layers of root vegetables, and vertical layers of climbing vines such as kiwis. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Michaela, and my topic was planned grazing. And planned grazing is the usage of forage plantings and grazing rotations to maximize production and reduce sediment nutrient runoffs. This shows us how we can help our vegetation become healthy and make sure it gets every nutrient that it needs. This is important because it helps ensure every piece of land gets the right amount of nutrients and grazing, and it helps keep both land and the animals healthy. And my facts that I chose for planned grazing was planned grazing improves soil fertility by making sure that every piece of vegetation gets all the nutrients from each animal to help it grow. My second is planned grazing helps us keep our livestock healthy by providing the necessary nutrients that they need. My third is planned grazing has many plans like 2 herd, 1 pasture, meaning they have 2 animals like cows and chickens in 1 field. So they switch where the animals go on the field to make sure each piece of the land gets a good amount of each animal manure and to make sure it eats what it needs on each side of the field. Chicken tractors are helpful because it helps us transfer our livestock from one piece of land to another, making sure it gets all of the nutrients from every single animal. My last fact is manure from each of the livestock people use is very helpful. They all give different nutrients, and it helps the land differently depending on what you need. And how planned grazing relates to urban
farming is plant grazing is a very helpful thing, and it keeps our crops nice and fertile. But it also keeps our livestock healthy. It helps to make sure all animals eat the right amount of everything, and every plant gets the right nutrients from each animal. And the way we used this in our garden was that we used the chicken manure, and it helped our garden grow. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Nyota, and my topic is native plants. So native plants have grown familiar to the local climate and soil conditions. Any animals that co-involved with them cannot exist without them. Why is it important? They provide the natural foundation for all life. They use less water, they save time and money, and are not invasive. Some fun facts are they are healthier and stronger because they have learned to survive in different environments. They are also food for native animals. They store excess carbon, and they don't need fertilizers and use less pesticides. They are also just beautiful. They come in many colors and textures and heights. How does this relate to urban garden? Since it doesn't hurt it, it can only help it. It's a great and safe way to plant. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Paris. I studied the carbon cycle, and the carbon cycle is a cycle to where carbon is reused by animals, plants, and the atmosphere. And it's important because carbon, it keeps all life steady. Like, all plants use carbon, animals use carbon, we use carbon. Carbon comes from the atmosphere, and some facts about carbon is that carbon is produced by fossil fuels and is dispersed into the atmosphere. My second fact is, at all times, 3.3 billion carbon atoms are in the atmosphere, and that's what maintains the carbon cycle. And then my third fact, carbon is also absorbed by the ocean as well. And fourth fact, carbon dioxide is a greenhouse gas, which means it's recycled, goes from plants to animals, atmosphere, ocean. And then my fifth fact, deforestation causes more carbon to be held in the atmosphere. That's why there's so much of it. And then this ties back to our garden because we have plants in our garden, obviously, and they use carbon as well. Thank you.
Sup, I'm Rachel, and my topic is patterns in nature. Patterns in nature are repetition in natural forms that are not man-made. Patterns in nature are important because they illustrate life, movement, and vitality. Without life, the Earth would not be able to sustain itself, and global warming would destroy the Earth. Life can include greens, trees, water, and vegetation. The Earth needs to be covered to protect itself and sustain a sustainable climate. Fun facts. Patterns in nature can be modeled mathematically. Patterns in nature are seen as an abstract form, making it hard to recreate for artists. The human body contains many natural patterns, such as branching in the lungs. The main types of patterns are symmetry, fractals, spirals, meanders, and spots/stripes. Morphogens, a cell signaler, send messages to the cell and tell it what to do, creating patterns. Patterns in nature tying into urban gardening. My topic ties into urban gardening because it's something that occurs naturally in our urban garden here at Arts Streets. It makes it visually interesting. There are many natural patterns in gardens, such as the plants being grown and creatures and humans that will visit. Thank you.
Hi, my title was Plant Diverse Crops. What is it? What is planting diverse crops? When plants support other plants in a unique bond, meaning just like when you have multiple plants together and they support each other. Why is it important? If the soil has low nitrogen, having a companion plant like a nitrogen fixer planted next to it should help. Diversity is important because sometimes they need the extra support of more plants, or it just keeps everything covered in plants, and it still helps the environment because you're covering the plants and soil, or covering the soil and plants. diverse crops in Denver. Denver gardening enjoys a semi-arid climate, meaning humidity is low and the sun frequently shines. And so we have a community garden here at Arts Street, which is also like diverse crops. And the interesting facts, it works for sheltering other small plants from the wind, so it like helps if there was like strong winds. Diverse plants can attract more pollinators such as bees, which also helps with like the pollination of flowers and stuff. So it improves the soil because you're adding more roots, so it's helping with the minerals and pulling the water up. It acts as protection against harmful pests and insects because some don't like specific plants and stuff, or yeah, so they wouldn't take your other plants. And it increases overall production every year. Thank you.
I'm Sebastian, and my topic was composting. Composting is a mixture of ingredients that can be used to fertilize soil without damaging it. It is usually prepared by decomposing food waste, plant waste, and recycling organic materials. It is important because it is a way to improve the soil without damaging it, which can result in rich plant nutrients and beneficial organisms like mycelium. Some interesting facts that I found were worms help eliminate E. coli. It can be used to heat greenhouses. The process of heating compost to make it usable as soil in your garden is called cooking and can reach temperatures up to 135 Fahrenheit. Hot compost can be used to grow heat-loving plants in cold climates. Chickens can be used to create commercial compost. And then composting in Denver can affect urban gardening. Composting can affect urban gardening in Denver because it can be used in every garden to help grow edible and medicinal plants. Thank you.
My name is Sydney. My topic is essential components of an urban regenerative garden. Urban gardening is where people practice cultivation, mainly of food in and around urban areas. Regenerative agriculture uses photosynthesis in plants to close the carbon cycle and build soil health, crop resilience, and nutrient density. Why is this important? Well, urban gardening increases the land area used for agriculture, thereby increasing food security as the world population soars and arable land is constantly facing depletion. The growth of plants in urban areas come in many forms and is influenced by various factors such as land, space, capital requirements, and the type of plants. But how does this relate? Well, this ties into our own urban garden here at Arts Street because the process of establishing an urban garden is very similar, if not the same. For example, you have to consider the space for your urban garden and how much sunlight is reaching that space and what is your soil type and so forth. Some several facts of my topic is urban gardening reduces carbon footsteps through reduced emissions for food transportation, provides wholesome environmental regeneration through improving air and water, can promote water and organic waste recycling, and helps mitigate the effects of climate change. And it can take many forms from smaller to larger gardens. It is easy and it's doable. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Sudri and my topic is mycorrhizal fungi and mycelium. Mycelium is basically the roots of mushrooms and mushrooms are the fruit. Mycelium are tiny threads of fungi that wrap around or bore into roots to create the network between plants and trees, allowing them to communicate and share water and nutrients. It is considered the internet of the earth. Why is it important? One of the major things is that mycelium helps our ecosystem thrive, distributing resources all over the forest, even in urban gardens. Not only that, but it helps reduce the competition in invasive species, providing support to the plants. Some of the fungi have the potential to eradicate pollutions from their environment unless it's carrying chemicals that harm the fungus. Some facts. Mycelium can be used as natural pesticide. Mycorrhizal it develops a symbiotic relationship that helps the plant be more efficient at obtaining nutrients and water. Mycelium is tiny that 1 cubic inch of soil can contain enough mycelium to stretch 8 miles. Special types of fungi are used to clean up soil and toxic chemicals. Some radiation-loving mushrooms were even used to clean up the nuclear disasters in Fukushima, Japan. Microbial fungi can capture and store carbon in the soil, removing it from the atmosphere and thus helping to reverse climate change. How does this contribute to our urban garden? Mycelium will help improve and increase the nutritional value available to our plants. The plants will create mutual relationships with mycelium to thrive, making the environment for the plants healthier. Thank you.
My name is Nori, and my topic was about minimizing soil disruption. So, topic is about how we need to stop tilling because it keeps destroying the soil and making like synthetic chemicals into it and kill the don't know how to say the word. Anyways, we'll move on. And then it's important because the soil on Earth may be ruined if we keep tilling how we're not supposed to till, because there's animals like worms and ants that do it naturally for us. And then the 5 facts are there are 70,000 different types of soil in the U.S. Soil is alive, but it can die if it's mistreated. And there are more living organisms in tablespoons of soil than there are people on Earth. And then it takes at least 500 years to form 1 inch of topsoil. And then we need soil for clean drinking water. This ties into urban gardening because changes in the soil disruption can be used to make our soil for our garden. Yeah, thank you.